Good morning, everyone. I'm just going to keep letting people in, and we're going to have a little bit of a small group, I think, this morning, but welcome, welcome. I'm excited. We are heading into our first week, yay, of retrograde free, right? Right? This is so exciting. Until April, I think it's April 21st, if I'm not mistaken. So roughly, but we'll just say roughly. So welcome, welcome, welcome. All right. Well, I am going to say the following. I have at least 70 decks of cards. And every week I ask, which ones do I want to use? And it's always the same cards. So I don't know, this is why, okay, so just a little note before we get started. This is why usually on New Year's Day, I pull a card from every deck. That's usually what I do. I pull a card from every deck, I take pictures of it, I keep track of it. This year I didn't have all my decks because I don't actually know where we were on January 1st. I can't remember at this point. Where were we? Wait, you have to unmute.
I think you were at Kristen still.
Oh yeah, maybe. Yeah, we were at Kristen. I don't remember. Yes, we were at Kristen. So anyway, as I'm continuing to let people in, including Kristen. Thank you, Kristen, for being she can't hear me. But anyway, so thank you, Kristen. We were just talking about you. So thanks for popping in. I was saying I couldn't remember where I was on January 1st. And Jenna reminded me I was at your house. So anyway, thank you for that. But what I was going to say is that Jenna and I planning the Tea and Tarot Wheel of the Year workshop for this coming Saturday. It was planned a long time before the move, the change, the storms, all the things. We planned this, I don't know.
Like October, November.
September, October, because I was at your house when we were planning it. So I think it was October, yeah. So anyway, there you go. So I guess, the universe always knows what it's doing. So anyhow, hi, Bob. Hello, Bob. Oh, sweetie. I know. Oh, baby. We miss you. Yeah, we miss you. Yeah, but you don't have to wake up. It's okay. Go back to sleep. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Little star.
I know, such a sweetie. So yay, Tanya, too. I mean, I'm so excited. We've got our peeps here holding down the fort in multiple places in the United States and Mexico and Baja, Hawaii. Not that Baja is part of the United States, but but here we are. So we'll get started. Let's do some breathing and then we'll jump in because I've got Jenna here today and we're gonna go deep. So just take a moment. If you're listening to this later, as long as you're not driving, close your eyes. Just feeling your body, feeling where you are. Just taking a moment to honor yourself for getting to this point in the year. And I will say, just in this moment, that's no small feat for right now. So here we are, dropping energy down, feeling the earth. If it's comfortable to drop that root down into the earth and breathing in up through that root, breathing in and expanding your belly. And exhaling when you're ready. And breathing in up through the soles of your feet, expanding your belly. And exhaling. Breathing in. Exhaling. Dropping shoulders, relaxing jaw. Breathing in. And exhaling. And dropping shoulders, relaxing jaw, relaxing your pelvic floor. And when you're ready, just coming back. You might not be ready. I could just stay there all day. That felt really good.
I want to come back. I love you all, and I do want to come back, but I also just was like, oh, that felt delicious.
Felt good. Yeah, right. It felt good. Okay, so welcome everybody. We're so excited to have you here. So very similar to what we used to do on Instagram, and we're gonna do some tea and tarot. I don't have my tea, but I have water. Jenna, did you have coffee or tea?
I've got enough for everybody. I've got coffee and tea. Also got a water here.
Okay. All righty. That's great. I love it. I love it. So Jenna, do you want to say a few things before we get started?
Yes, actually I do.
Okay.
So we did wake up with your inner goddess on Saturday, and I've had a moment of realization as we were doing the breathing. So my dog Charles is right here, and he doesn't usually spend time in the studio. But he will not leave me alone ever since that meditation. He will not leave my side. And so I was like, okay, are you okay? Did some Reiki on him. Thank you, Kristen. And my teacher. And I was like, okay, it's not him. And I was like, is it me? But then I remembered in my meditation, to make a long story short, Athena was there and gifted me a wolf. And I was like, oh, I think Charles is just doing some magic. So anyway, I just want to share that because as I was breathing, I was like, oh, click, click. It just made sense. Anyway, the magic never ceases to amaze me. And I don't care how long I do this work for, it just like, and I know that Kristen and Denise, we've all talked about this before, and I'd love for everyone else to chime in, but it just like every time one of these things happens, it's just like, what? And I love that. I love that I get to just be surprised. So anyway, that's my little
I love that
addition to the day.
So may I offer a reflection?
Oh, please. Yes.
Okay. 2 things. So I'm looking at my notes from Wake Up. And for those of you that don't know what Wake Up with Your Inner Goddess is, it's a program that I offer the Saturday before the new moon. So many people here have been in it, but if you're ever interested, just, text me or email me and I'll send you more info. Anyway, it's a lot of fun, but I'm looking back and I see that your card was gratitude. Okay, so that was one thing that was coming. The other thing is it possible that Charles has offered himself to be the channel for the wolf energy currently?
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. I think
so. So I love, those I think it's Siberian Huskies that kind of have the wolf-like look. Is that the right dog that has, or is
there's
it
a couple?
One?
There's
or
a couple.
The
Malamutes are another one.
Yeah. Okay. So I've always loved them, but as you know, I'm more of a cat person. So if I'm going to choose, I'm going to have a cat over a dog, not because I don't love dogs, but it's just, one at a time for me. And unless it's 2 cats and they're small, but when I did my vision board, I'm just going to turn this around so you all can see it.
I saw that
right smack dab in that big spot toward the bottom is a wolf. And it says, what does it say? I have my glasses on. It says love travel. So that's what it says. And then it also says art. And then it says time of the wolf. Okay. So, okay. I don't really know what that means. I mean, I have my animal cards, which the animal oracle, which I can grab, and we can talk about wolves. Maybe we might want to do that at some point. Everything is a tarot reading for me.
Yeah, same.
Everything is an oracle.
Same.
Right.
Symbols all around.
Right. So I'm wondering if the wolf came to you, and I've got wolf on my Envision board. Thank you, there's something about the wolf that we need to examine. I don't know if that's true for everyone here, if it's just for us, or the fact that we're both having that and we're offering these workshops this year. I mean, I don't know. So we might want to check that out.
I love that idea.
Yeah.
See,
and
where this reading takes us.
Yeah. I'm just kind of curious. And my card was, oh gosh, you know what? I didn't save it out. Did I write it down? It's number 15. I don't know what that is. Okay. I'll have to go back and look. I'm not remembering in this moment because that was Saturday and
that
time
might as well have been a lifetime ago in many ways. Yeah.
Okay. So one of the things I want to bring in today, this, hopefully Jenna, is everything on, I know you're Scorpio, so I need to ask, is everything on the table right now? Can I share stuff? Okay.
I'm an open book.
Okay. So one thing I want to bring in as we move into this, it's a collective read for sure, but I want to share something that has been on my mind of late. And that is how much change and how much dramatic shifting has occurred just in the last 3 weeks. Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, some of us have been talking about like, what day is it? What year is it? How is it possible that this much can happen in such a short period of time? We talk about that a lot of late. This seems to be an ongoing theme for years now, but I wanted to bring something up. Jenna's house, up until recently, had a tremendously huge redwood tree right next to it. Yeah. And I want to bring up a couple of things because I feel like this somehow goes thematically for the collective. So is it okay if I share just a teens?
Oh yeah.
And then
please.
You can jump in anytime. But Jenna, Jenna lives in the Santa Cruz Mountains, for those of you who don't know. So pretty much, I think everyone knows that, but in case you don't, and you're listening, you may not know, the storms were intense. Jenna, how many inches of rain came through those mountains? You were showing me recently. It was profound.
I think it was, okay, so the average rainfall
for a year,
like over the last 30 years has been like 30-ish inches.
For the year.
The whole year. And so in the last 3 weeks, we've had 60 inches of rain.
Yeah. And so that does a lot. And we're finding, like, unfortunately, some of our community who didn't have like outwardly visible experiences from the rainstorm are now experiencing like the ground under there. And this is really important too. So I want to kind of move into this a little bit from a collective viewpoint. The ground under their homes is unstable now. The ground under their homes isn't what it was. And so they have to go underneath and there has to be cleanup or changes. I'm thinking of Saturn with this, and I'm thinking of it's coming to its end at Aquarius in a couple months. And so what foundations, what structures, what lessons, what do we need to clean up? What's going to make it safer and better when we move Saturn into Pisces, which I personally feel is bringing us reminders of compassion and like how to be more compassionate collectively. Okay, so the ground. Now, Jenna's house, back to Jenna and the tree. The tree tried really hard to make it, but tornadoes whipped through that neighborhood, little mini tornadoes whipped through, and they left a path, according to the garbage collector, who saw the path because it was along his route, right, Jenna? Am I right?
Yep.
Yeah.
You're absolutely
so these
correct.
And is this going to bring up too much trauma? Am I okay to talk about this?
No,
okay.
You're okay to talk about
okay.
Yep.
So the tree tried to hold on, and Jenna has a very, beautiful relationship with the tree. And the reason I'm bringing this up is that Jenna, I want you to tell the story about where the tree ended up. That's important.
Okay.
And before that, what I want to just say is the tree is no longer where it was. Okay. That much we know. But the tree's energy is exactly there. And so when we talk about womb space, and most of you have been introduced to the womb space work in some form, we're not talking about the anatomical uterus. I mean, we are. If you have a uterus, if you have ovaries, then yes, we can talk about that anatomically. But when we're talking about a space, we're talking about the container. We're talking about that sacred container where that energy is held. And so Jenna's tree is still there for me, even though it's not there. You know what I'm saying? It's physically not there, but it is a space where that energy lives. And so what I want to say to everyone collectively right now, which was coming through this morning, was that we've experienced a lot of losses. And those sacred containers still exist, even if the physical being doesn't exist, even if the relationship that we had doesn't exist in the same way. But that container, that sacredness is still there, that energy of whatever it is that was there. And I think this is coming from my Pluto self. I'm not sure exactly how to relate it to astrology, but I was thinking about it. And Jenna, would love for you to share the story about where the tree ended up, if you're comfortable sharing that, and how it got there and what you did in the mean, all of that.
So briefly, I am a certified Reiki 1 and 2 practitioner, and I am going to be working on my Reiki Masters this year with Kristen. So we'll share that piece. And this is something that I was laying in bed, and we knew that the winds were coming. We did not get a tornado warning at that point. But I was laying in bed, and something told me to just Reiki everybody's homes, all my neighbors and our home, and so I did. And I woke up to the wind. It was the loudest wind I've ever heard in my life. It sounded like a train was running above our house. And 30 seconds prior, the power got knocked out. So Chris was up because we have something that beeps. So he saw it. So I'll tell you that in a second. But basically, long story short, I just hear snap, boom. And I'm like, ugh. And I've been around enough tree falls at this point to know that a tree fell somewhere very, very close. And Chris just says like, yep, that was ours. And I just that moment of panic of like, is everybody okay? And so we run to the back, and Chris runs outside, and I was really worried about him because the wind was just like so loud. And he, anyway, so everyone's safe. He turns off our neighbor's gas because the generator, try as it might, was still hanging on, even though the tree fell on our neighbor's generator. That's where it landed. And so the next morning we look, and the tree, about 20 feet of tree, the top of our redwood tree, cleared the fence completely, and landed on the concrete slab of our neighbor's house, damaging absolutely nothing except for the poor generator. And no limbs broke, anything. And if you know about tree fall, like they're, especially the redwood limbs, because they're so long and so strong that they tend to impale structures like a sword. None of it. It somehow, all of the limbs were collected basically in our lawn, and the stump itself with like shorter limbs was just landed perfectly 10 feet over from where the redwood sits. So if the redwood is here, you would think it'd snap off and land exactly here on the other side, but it landed here. So something carried it, tornado, guess, carried it. So Chris saw it when it was moving, and he said that it was swaying this way in the wind, and then it whipped back this way and snapped off. So the wind doesn't do that. And so we know for a fact. And then the worst part was that I was eerily silent after that.
Yeah.
Eerily silent, just dead silent, no wind. And so Chris and I would just lay there all night. But anyway, so that is the miraculous tree falling of when the tree people came, they just, all of them, they were like, I've never seen anything like this. I've never seen this mass of a tree move so far as to not damage a fence or anything. And so the wind was just so strong, the tornado was so strong that it carried it, and anywhere would have killed the chickens if it went in that direction. If it would have fallen in its proper spot where it should have fallen, it would have crushed our neighbor's leach field, which would have been terrible damage. Or their house, or our neighbor's house, or our neighbor's house, or this structure here, or our house, you know, so any other way that it would have fallen. And so gratitude to the Reiki, holy moly. Definitely, I do believe that we were protected and given a major gift in how safe we were in that moment. What date was this? Shannon's asking. That's a fabulous question.
It was after I left, and we left on the 5th.
Tell you
when Kristen came back on the 5th. Yeah, so we left on the 5th, so it was after the 5th. I think it was that weekend.
It was. I actually have photos that I can. It was January 10th, and so this was what was in our neighbor's backyard.
Amazing.
No damage to our fence except for like 2 little boards were popping out from where one of the limbs had just like popped it out.
Poked it.
Yeah. So you can see though, there's like no limbs there. Like they're like the limbs, it's just wild. It's a wild situation. So anyway, that's
I realized
the whole story.
Yeah, thank you for that. And I really wanted you to share that. I realize, you know, you're still processing. There's a lot happening. I mean, Tanya knows, because I think you were still in Santa Cruz at that point. I don't know when you flew back. No, you were in Hawaii. Wait, unmute. Wait, we still can't hear you. Hold on.
Oh, I'm actually back in Santa Cruz again. I was there. I was here like on the 5th. I went back to Hawaii, and now I'm back here because it was my mom's birthday. So
well, happy birthday to your mom.
I was in Hawaii then. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, in any case, people who live in the Santa Cruz area know it can get wild and woolly, but this is pretty miraculous. And what I guess what I wanted to point out, Jenna, and thank you for sharing, is there's magic every day. And there's ways that we connect with it that are powerful, and, you know, some ways are things we don't necessarily think about, you know, they're just sort of second nature to us. And then there's something like what happened to you that's a very dramatic showing of what can happen. And one of the things that we talked about, you know, privately was, you know, bad things happen. And, you know, we're not going to, you know, many tornadoes, hurricanes, you know, accidents, all kinds of things happen. So we can't prevent the things from happening that are out of our control. But what can we do to prepare? What can we do? And Jenna has a whole newsletter that she sent out this morning. If you're not on her newsletter list and you'd like a copy of that newsletter, go ahead and just message her. You can message her here. Yeah. What you talked about today in your newsletter about how do you get through these storms? How do you get through times when things are out of control? You know, this is not something you have control over. You can prepare, like what you did with the Reiki. You can, and then once something happens, then you have your, how do I deal with this? And we all have our ways, but I particularly like what you shared in your newsletter this morning. So I just wanted to let people know that was out there. And for us collectively, kind of like the ground under the house, right? The tree falling, the change happening, the energetic space that's left when something's gone, right? All of that fits with what I think is happening this year. So there are ways for us to move through this that are graceful And of course we're going to be stressed, and there's going to be grief, and there's going to be fear, and all those. We're human, right? So I guess I just really wanted to just underscore how everything, as we were saying, is a sign for us, how everything is a sign for us. Is Charles saying something?
He is. He's agreeing. And he's reminding me that Judy put into, which is like perfect, put into the chat here, that from the animal spirit knowledge cards, wolf is creation, healing, and purification.
So there you go. And I think a good reminder for all of us that that's out there too, right?
Yeah.
We're not alone in this adventure, this journey, our sorrow, our grief, our fear, our joy, our celebration. And one thing that I've shared, and I want to continue to share in this group because it's a safe enough container, I hope, for all of us, that being able to share the challenges and the celebrations in the same space is really important for me. That we have a space where if your life is going really, really well, I want you to feel good. And if you're struggling, I want you to feel held. Does that make sense? Like both can be true at once. And that's something I had to learn throughout life. It's like, that was just something that I always thought, and I don't know if other people felt this way, but as a really sensitive person, I can feel other people's feelings. And I thought I needed to feel like how they felt. Like I couldn't feel how I was feeling if this person was sad. And of course, I'm going to feel compassion and empathy, but if I'm celebrating, I want to also be able to do that. So I just, as we're beginning this year, just want to kind of put that in our special space here. Some of us on Saturday are going to be getting the Tower card.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we already got it. Maybe we already got it. But, some people are going to be getting the star, so I want to make sure that everybody knows that there's a space for them to be able to celebrate and or be curious, just be curious. So I hope that makes sense. It wasn't super well thought out, but I hope that makes sense.
No, it does makes so much sense. And Charles is staring at the couch like, can I go back up there if I've gotten down?
Yeah.
You want to go up? Go on, up. There you go. Good boy.
He just wasn't sure if he was supposed to be on the couch.
He's very unsure.
Yes. And then he's like, did you see me when I was up there? Because he didn't say anything. And then I got down. So you see me now, but maybe I can put on my invisibility cloak. Is that kind of what was going on?
Yeah, no, Denise, I think that brings up something that I've been thinking about a lot since the tree, and just how powerful how powerful nature is. And in that nature is just there's so much richness and so much abundance and all of the things that we really desire too, right? Like when we talk about manifestation, often it's about that abundance mindset, abundance this. And part of abundance is being able to, if you want to hold all of the greatness, there has to be the capacity to inspect the spectrum, which is the shadows as well. And so I think that it's just part of our evolutionary process in our own lives of how are we, when we process, are we expanding our capacity, or are we restricting that capacity out of fears or very real and honest fears or traumas, and then being with that, sitting with it, not necessarily in it, but with it, so that you can heal that and like open your container a little more for the good too. And so I think I've really just been in that space of like, okay, we're sitting in the eye of the storm here. And I wrote not in this monthly mystic journal, which is the email newsletter, which I only send out one a month. one email a month. So I promise you, I won't spam you all with a slew of emails. But I think it was in December's email list where I was sharing that the energy of 2023 really did feel super dynamic. It felt like it was just things were going to be really fast paced as far as especially our manifestations go. And as of late, I've been thinking a lot about our tongue as a tool, as a muscle. And so how are we flexing that muscle, or how are we teaching that muscle to speak the words that being careful with our words, and not even just careful kind of means like, I don't know, for me, careful is like, oh, you have to be afraid of them, but like being conscientious or intentional with the words that we're using, because they're so powerful. They're just so powerful. And I think that just goes into like when we're talking about 2023 as an energy as a whole, that's what I've been feeling the most, is just, wow, like the opportunities are so great. And there's also a lot that if that energy is present, the spectrum is there. And so we just have to know that the whole spectrum is present, and we're, wherever we're at right now is perfect. It's perfect for your journey.
I love that. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
And I agree don't you agree with Shannon? With Pluto conjunct the sun last week, and technically it's in orb, but it's moved into Aquarius now. But I agree, Shannon, dark, light, structure, freedom, oneness, integrity, completion, neutrality. This is the last time that the sun and Pluto will be conjuncting Capricorn for a long time, at least, I would say at least 230 years. So possibly maybe longer, depending on the way that everything is orbiting. We could find out though. That's an easy find. But the idea being that Shannon's right, like really looking at dark and light. And Jenna, you're right. I love how you articulate things. It really, you said it beautifully. So thank you for sharing that. And we're moving right along here. It's quite a year so far, and we're in it. We're in it. So bringing all of you into this in a way that feels right for you, we're going to start pulling some cards. And this is how it was in Tea and Tarot on Instagram. We just have a conversation. Then we pull some cards. Okay. So I'm going to pull the anchor card I always have to pull the anchor card from here. It's just what we do. It's our tradition, from the Mother Piece. And Ace of Swords.
Ooh.
Ace of Swords. So I think, I'm gonna just hold that up and let us be present with that. Just be present with that. What does that feel like? What does that look like? What's happening there? All right. And always what I like to say is, Jenna, what do you see?
Immediately drawn to the farfalla, the butterfly there. Immediately. And then also I see a kite. I don't know if it's supposed to be a kite, but I see a kite.
You can see whatever you need to see.
I see a kite. And I just see a lot of evolution, potential, and that like all of that builds up. That's like, I think it's literally called like potential energy in physics, where it's just like that builds for the like rush of the go. That's what I'm feeling and seeing today.
I love that. I love that. Jenna's taking Italian. Would you like to repeat the word for butterfly so we can all learn it with you?
Yes, it's farfalla.
Farfalla, butterfly.
Farfalla.
Farfalla. Okay, thank you. A little bit of Italian for you. Yeah, so what I noticed this time around, because, every time I'm noticing something different, I noticed her hand and the light coming out of her hand down here. So this for me is a diamond. And I was, the light of the diamond, the facets coming out. But for the first time, I mean, those are beautiful rainbows everywhere. This light coming out of her hand. Kind of curious about that. I never really thought about it before. So I'm going to just remain curious about this. And Ace of Swords, for those of you that want to, tune into the traditional, we're at the beginning, we're at focus point. It's a mental card. So we're focused. She's focused. She's focused. And this is an interesting connection to that realm.
Super interesting choice for that card.
Yeah. So transformative.
Which I like.
Yes, transformative mindset, transformative thinking, transformative energies moving through. And I love that her whole body's involved, even though it's a mental card. Like she's in a meditative, relaxed position. Meditation, opening the mind. Lots there.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's such a testament to the connection of the mind, the body, soul, spirit, self, the emotional body as well. And that's something I did talk about in this last email, was just that those things
mystic journal.
The mystic monthly mystic journal.
Oh, the monthly mystic journal.
Yeah, the mystic journal. Just exploring that connection and how they're all playing together at once. Kind of a beautiful, harmonious way. I pulled a card, Denise, as we were talking earlier, and it's so perfect for everything that we've been sharing.
Okay.
It's the Empress.
Oh, beautiful. What deck is that, Jenna? Is that
that's the Moonchild Tarot?
It is the Moonchild. I haven't seen that card from that deck. So that's,
oh yeah, it's stunning. All of her art in this Danielle Noel is the artist. I'll type it in the chat. Just such a worth the price. So beautiful. In the woods there, we see the woods, we see the growth, we see that meditative. What do you see, Denise?
I'm seeing the 3. That's kind of the first thing. And is that an orb in her hand, or is that it is an orb? So I was noticing the 3. I'm noticing her orb and her other hand up. I'm feeling reverence, devotion, healing. I mean, we know it's the Empress, right? So I kind of have a sense of that. But in this particular image, it's so clear that there's connection to the collective, there's connection to the others, there's leadership and healing work being done. It's a beautiful image for that card. So one of the things Angeles Arian says about that card that I always hear in my head when I see any Empress card is giving in equal measure to receiving, or receiving in equal measure to giving. And I feel that in that card. And okay, here's one more thing that I felt, noticed. I don't know, because, we're looking at it through Zoom, but I feel like the background is the redwood tree, and that circle is like the stump turned on its side, and that they're sitting up against the redwood tree stump with the rings showing. Now, I don't know if that's really what it is, but that's what I'm seeing.
I love that. I love that so much. And I'm actually noticing the peonies for the first time.
Yeah, I love those. Yeah.
So much, excuse me, so much energy there with like just the abundance, the prosperity of this like deep work within.
I love it so much. It's beautiful. And it feels, like you said, very connected to what we're doing right now. And again, setting the tone with this card, just like what's the connection to, what's the mental connection, what's the body connection, and then connection to, now what do I do with that? How do I move with that energy? So that's kind of what I'm getting. Yeah.
And like you were saying too, with the mental realms of just like being like the connection and the just the meditative center of it all, like this is that just echoes it perfectly to me too.
Yeah, it really does. Beautiful. Do you want to pick another card? I mean, I don't know what you've got over there, so
yeah, I do. There's one more that wants to come through, so we'll see where we go with that. Okay, I have to tell you, in my other readings for other clients, the Empress came up and the Hierophant has also come up multiple times for everybody. So it feels very collective at this point.
Oh. So the other night when I was facilitating a sensuous wisdom class, I was trying to remember what I was remembering when I was witnessing one of the women who had draped herself with that color cloak over her head. And now I'm remembering that this is the card that was coming to me. Okay, so I'm just having a moment here. Like, that's what I saw when I witnessed her movement meditation the other night. Wow.
Yeah, Kristen. Yes. I'm telling you, these cards are just, I feel the energy in my hands so strongly. And it's just, it is that energy. It's that, like, it is potent right now. It is so strong. It's like, hi, like the other realms are like, hi, hey, we're here. We're supporting you. Like, you've got, connect to us, talk to us, work with us. Like, anything is possible, but you got to get out of your own way to believe it. And that's kind of where I'm at right now in my own like mental realm, but I'm sharing it because it's coming out. So we're
you got to believe it. Yeah. The Hierophant is such an interesting card because the mother piece has a whole other take on the Hierophant in terms of its historical, what it actually represented, who those people were, trying to bridge the taking from the goddess culture and bringing in the patriarchy. So there's a historical element of what Hierophants were literally. But for me, the Hierophant, again, Angelus Arian being in the, I was going to call it the Tarot Bible, but that's not it. The Tarot Handbook. But it is that energy of bringing that light, being someone who is able to stand maybe as a bridge for sure, to hold that, but what is that light that wants to come through? And there is a very big connection between that card and this card, absolutely, as well. The light coming from, her face, her forehead, her everything.
The eye is down here, which I think is so fascinating. You can go up, Bubba, if you want. He got back down. Now he's staring at it again.
It's like, it's okay. No one, it's like, don't watch me. So there's this beautiful energy with that card and that particular image again. I would love, if you feel like putting anything in the chat, the Hierophant is an interesting energy. And again, Angelus Arian, deferring to her a bit, but if there's anyone else, like she says, it's the bringer of the light. It's one of the Taurus cards. The Empress is the other Taurus card, by the way. So we've got two Taurus cards coming through, which I also think is very interesting with Uranus just turning direct yesterday in Taurus. So it just, none of this is a coincidence. How are we going to pull it together? I am not sure.
Denise, what I just thought of when you said that is that we're going to have our first eclipse in Taurus.
Oh yes, you're
Scorpio
absolutely
this
right.
year too.
Yep, you're right. 100%. Thanks for reminding me. Wow. It's so funny. Thank goodness there's community, because I get so focused on, all the individual sessions I've been doing that I'm right here. Like I'm right here. I'm like, right, there's a whole other year happening. So thank you for reminding me of that. Wow. Yeah, the nodes are going to move. The node is in Taurus currently, but will be moving into Aries. So yeah, wow. There's a lot happening. So again, Uranus in Taurus, the eclipse in Taurus, the node spending its last moments in Taurus. What does that mean? What are we to be with that? So I will always defer to Angeles Arian, because I just love what she has to say. That being said, I am really curious what Danielle Noel has to say about the Hierophant. Thank you, Jenna, for reading my mind.
I pulled this card too. Little fun fact for everyone. We pulled this card in one of my sessions with Denise recently, and she's like, "How do you feel about the Hierophant?" And I was like, honestly, icky. I don't like this card. It reminds me of, my Catholic days.
Right.
I didn't have a good time,
Right. Yeah.
And so just kind of reframing that. And I think that oftentimes these images are so helpful for just self-reflection. And that's why I'm so passionate and enthusiastic about the tarot, because you can sit with a single card and just dive into yourself and do so much inner work just from the interpretation of art and storytelling. And I love it. Okay. It says here, teacher, conduit, lesson, knowledge, and tradition, which I think is so interesting as you were talking about the Capricorn and moving out of Aquarius soon. So the inquiry here is, how can I tune into my own spiritual path? What do I have yet to explore in this life? Big question.
Wow, I love that. And yes, teacher, student, leader again. We've got some leadership there. Exploring.
This also is interesting, Denise.
Yeah,
go ahead. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
It just says, whether it be a guide, teacher, mentor, class, program, or community, now is a lovely period to seek out new avenues of exploration or structures that build stability and clarity. This discovery will elevate your spirit and shift the course of your path into new, uncharted wisdom.
Does that not sound like Saturn moving from Aquarius to Pisces? I mean, hello. Yeah, that's huge. That just encapsulated it beautifully. That's amazing. Also the 5. The 5 is, it can be about change, but it can also be about the family. So family of origin, the human family, where we still, we're in Aquarius time. So let's not forget that, and Aquarius is the energy of the group, the human family. So there's that as well. So we're pulling some cards here. I love it. Love this.
Some great energy. And I'm so excited for our workshop on Saturday, so that we can piece out and really get a capture of each month where and then look at it as a whole too.
I am too.
So
I mean, I mean, it's a little selfish of me, but I'm I'm kind of looking forward to doing it myself.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, this is when we're going to do it. We're going to do it then. Any other cards on that end that you want to pull?
Just the bottom of the deck. And so shout out to my best friend and just this amazing magical woman, Katie Winnan. She always looks at the bottom of the deck and uses that last card. So the last card is the King of Swords.
Ooh, I keep pulling that card in other decks as well. Interesting. Again, mental realm, King of Swords too. So the command of that.
Yeah.
So the Ace and the King. So it's all the way.
The whole journey.
All the way.
I'm actually welcoming that at this moment.
I am too. That's beautiful. Yeah. Interesting. He comes up most often in my client readings. That is so fascinating.
Kristen, that is really fast and interesting too. Kristen, I'm very curious. Do you do the Reiki and then this comes up, or is this he comes up when you're doing just your tarot readings?
I use that deck specifically only for tarot readings. But I mean, to the point where I'm like, is he the only card in the deck? Like, he keeps coming up for people. Right? Literally, I was, and then the other two that you pulled came up yesterday. They came up last week. They came like, it's like, are there only 3 cards in this deck? It's wild. And Denise, you've been doing this for years, and you will still say on some of our calls, like, how have I never seen this card before? Like, when a new one.
I know it's true. I'll have decks for 20 years and never, I mean, have I looked through them? Sure, but not have the card actually come out. Yeah, it's true. So that tells us something, you know, just as a reminder, traditionally in Eastern Europe, when you do tarot, it's your ancestors speaking to you. And so they're trying to get a message. They're like, hello, are you listening? We have a nice, neat tarot reading already. I want to pull from the light seers, but honestly, I want to because I love her affirmations, but I'm putting it aside right now because this deck is calling to me. It's called Art Through the Eyes of the Soul Oracle. Okay, I know. So I'm like, I need to.
I love people. I love artists. I do. I just am so amazed by people.
Cheryl Yambrock Rose Hall is a portrait painter, visionary artist, and researcher. Using historical data along with her psychic impressions, she creates empowered oil paintings based on sacred sites and their mythology. She lives in Glastonbury, Prague, and Mount Shasta. Oh, because those all fit together. Anyway, do you want to know how long I've had this deck?
Yeah.
Oh God, probably since I used to live here. Well, let's look at what year it was created. 2011. That's when I left here. This is okay. So, just weirdness. Okay. I'm going to just own something here. I have never pulled cards from this deck since I lived here in 2011. And the first time I pulled a card for it was the other night during class for someone in class. It's been traveling with me from this area all the way to all the other places. And now it's back in this area and it's like, hello.
I'm ready.
Okay, here we go. So this is an oracle, obviously not a tarot. So we're moving into.
Yes, Kristen, feel that.
OMG.
It's like opening a present.
Okay, here's the thing. If there was a card that was going to pull in all the cards, this would be the card. So that's all I'm going to say. I'm going to hold up the card now.
Okay.
And you're going to look for all the details. You've got the chalice. You've got the sword. You've got the Tor in the background.
Okay.
You've got keep the vigil. Now here, listen, keep the vigil, justice will triumph. Okay, I don't know exactly what that means, but that's okay. We love that. We'll keep that. But the vigil by the holy thorn tree, I'm just saying, I don't know which holy thorn tree that was referring to, but it could be any, we can be with our tree. We can be with your tree.
So Denise, when I did that meditation, same wolf, that was the sword that was given to me with the blue dot.
Rose. Yeah, it's a rose. It's the symbol of the
glowing blue.
Yeah. Oh,
And so I have my like really terrible rendition of a wolf there.
No.
And then the sword.
My
This is from Wake Up with Your Inner Goddess.
Okie dokie. Yeah. So one of the things we talk about is how we're always blown away. Like you never want to not have this feeling. Like awe is such a good feeling. Like, okay, so, oh man. Okay. So
he's the king, right? Like
yeah,
when I
and
look
he
at
looks like
him,
the
I
king.
see
Yeah,
the king from the other one, the
I do
sword
too.
from the other one.
Yeah. Yes. Right.
And the rose, like that blue rose too, of just like that, this energy,
Yeah.
but also the Empress with the chalice. Like
Absolutely.
it's just,
Yeah, it's the sacred feminine, and this is the protector. This would be like the Templar Knights, right? Who are there supporting the sacred feminine, the Holy Grail, which of course is the womb space. So, I mean, everything we've talked about is in this card. Okay. Okay. All right. I don't really like, that's just a lot right there. I love it.
I mean, it's just like, I would love to hear how others are like sitting with this, or what's coming up for them, even if it's just words or colors or shapes or phrases or, you know, because I have my whole own story with this at this point. Wow.
I'm gonna go ahead,
Can
Kristen.
you do where you hold them all up?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Please.
See if I can get them all. There you go.
I'm trying to look at them underneath so I can really see. It's so cool. There's just such an interesting energy with all of this. The colors are even working together today too.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. The first thing I noticed was the color.
And
then the light in the staffs, or some form of wielding something.
Yes, every single one of them has some like glowing or light. Both of Denise's, and then Jenna, even the one with the 3 women. What card was that?
The Empress.
Yeah, see, she's holding a glowing orb.
And she has them coming out of her fingertips too.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
I'm also picking up balance in all of them. The reflection of the mountain in him. The 3 women they're balanced. The Hierophant has the 2 towers on each side.
Yep.
Yeah,
and the first one has the light coming out of her hand, the sword, the butterfly. You know, there's just, this is okay. So what do we do with this? We sit with this because this is for the week, right? So we let this unfold. We let this speak to us. You know, I'm not opposed to looking at the books, particularly for an oracle card that I'm not familiar with, but I do think, you know, it's important. So, but I need to read this, okay? Are you ready?
I am.
Know that in your heart, good shall prevail upon earth. Oh, Tanya, that's awesome. I love it. Yeah. Tanya says, for those that can't see, wielding power through light. Yes. Okay. So whether an inner battle or an outer one, physics shows us that the universe is always striving to return to a natural state of balance, which is what Kristen just said. The holy thorn tree on Warial Hill in Glastonbury was a place where ancient knights performed their vigil before going into battle. It also stands as a symbol of the safe return from an arduous quest. The tree was recently vandalized and cut down. This is tragic, yes, but reminds us that the magic of Avalon, as with love, dwells in our hearts and cannot be destroyed by vandals or by the destructive acts of others. If we allow them to have that power, their intention will be fulfilled. When you are weary from involvement in the problems of the world, remember to keep the vigil of your heart. Resting upon the nexus point of the knight's sword is the blue rose of immortality. I'm getting emotional. The tree will rejuvenate itself and it will grow once again. Right?
We started this talking about a tree. This is this is the thing that just like it leaves me speechless, you know? It really does. It leaves me speechless. And I'm so just like, I'm soaking in that speechlessness and soaking in that awe because that, like that is just like the most juicy part to me about being alive is when I get to just be like,
yeah, I don't want to skip over this moment. I just feel so like connected to gratitude and awe and like, how does this all work? And loving that it all works, you know? Right. Who's expected to cry? I already put on my mascara for the day. No, but I want this. I want this feeling. I want to be moved. This is what we're here to do in this community, is support each other and move with each other in these beautiful circles of energy that are real. The magic is real. This isn't made up. You know, I haven't talked about the numerology that much this year, but this year is about movement. It's about stillness and movement. It's also about magic, number 7, about magic. So yeah, let me read that just one more time, just the last part. I'm just going to read the last part. The tree will rejuvenate itself and grow once again. Yeah. And Jenna, do you want to share what you are doing with the tree? Like from a real, since we're here again.
So we're stumping it at a safe enough level, which is about 10 feet up. And it's going to be, there's suckers that have already started to come out of the stump. And so we're stumping it just above that so that it can potentially have at least a crown. And then we're going to keep its suckers at the bottom healthy, and you know, the tree will grow again.
Yeah, it will. It will rejuvenate.
It will. She's here. I have had a little bit of, I have to find some humor in all of this. This is how I cope. And so I've been calling it Redwood Stump House instead of Redwood House. But we also are keeping a lot of the stumps, like the cut pieces. And so those will be in the 4 corners of the home, of the property, to honor her and her energy. But yeah, I think it's been the trees are, I've been speaking to them, and they are they really love when we engage with them, and when we're happy and we're in awe and we're singing or dancing or expressing our light. They really, or reading to them or talking to them, they really, really, really love that. So the more you can just be in that space for yourself, like they do, their presence is there.
Yeah.
And they're soaking that in.
Yeah.
I believe that.
Whew, I believe that too. And it sounds a little weird, but I'm going to just riff off of what you just said. And I'm just thinking about the stump of the tree. And then I'm thinking about the new growth around the tree. And I'm thinking about the number 5 and the family, and redwood trees grow in families. They have little babies that come out and then they create their rings in families. And if she could, she probably would create a ring, but there's houses everywhere. So that, but this ring around her, I mean, there's fairy rings and there's rings around the energy of the ring, the energy of that magical protection and support and love and the family, the little redwood family. I feel like that's more the emphasis now than this tall majesty, which was beautiful. But now the focus is on this family, this community around her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, lastly, Denise, I will share this. When we got her serviced, not just 6 months ago, they did say that whoever owned this tree last, whoever owned the property last, over serviced her, so she wasn't as strong as she could have been. And so I'm really taking that in as I see this reading of like balance, as we were talking about, like rebalancing, and there is power in the wild. There is power in the raw,
Yes.
letting something be what it is, letting ourselves be who we are. And then when we over refine, like refining is part of the process. Yeah. But when we over refine, we can actually weaken our structures. And so I've been really sitting with that and thinking like, this is a chance for the redwood to rebuild in a stronger, more supportive way.
Apparently so. And I will say this, something about the way this stump is created right now, it reminds me of the chalice. There's something about that energy right there. And then we talked about the womb space, which is the chalice, and that space, that energetic space that's there. So yeah, there's a lot here. I think I'm going to be unpacking this for a little bit.
Oh yeah. I feel like I could write a whole book on the messages here. So
yes, we'll do that. You're a writer. This is what you do, among other things.
Among other things.
Yeah.
But yeah, so wow. Thank you everyone for being here and for creating the container so we can all witness this magic this morning to start our week.
Amazing magic. Totally amazing magic. And we're a small group today, but hopefully some of you will be joining us on Saturday. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a really deep container before we pull the cards. So we'll be doing some meditation, some movement, and we'll be then moving into the actual time to pull the cards, one for each month. So, and then we'll have time for sharing. If you want to share, you don't have to share, but if you want to, there'll be time. Simple, but powerful, as evidenced by today. Wow. So anyway, that's happening Saturday. And then, Jenna will be back. We're going to try to get Jenna back on to do this, so we can do this together. I love doing it every week, but I love it when we do these expanded versions. Yeah. Thank you, Lori.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So yeah, I like our expanded versions. We miss doing the Instagram, but this is a better format, and it's just better for us time-wise too. So we're trying to learn our Saturn lessons. Jenna finished her Saturn return it's been a couple of years. Well, it's been a year and a half, 2 years. Year now.
I think I finished it at the end of 2020. So
yeah. So
what a year.
Yeah. And I'm about to head into my Saturn return. So we're trying to listen to Saturn. That's our goal, so yeah.
Yeah. And on my like board that I created, my envision board on that I created during Kristen's workshop, I have a huge Saturn right in the corner.
Yes, you do. I have
Huge Saturn.
Do I have Saturn on mine? Kind of, yeah. I can't. I have the planets. I think I've got Saturn on there. Yeah, you have a big Saturn.
I have a big Saturn, and there's a message underneath it. And if I can find it in 2 shakes, I will.
Okay.
Because it is so fun. Oh my
Well,
gosh,
while
Denise.
you're doing that, I'll fill the time by saying that I've moved back to my Saturn line. So I left it briefly thinking, oh gosh, it's time for the first time in my life to live off my Saturn line. Apparently, I really like living on my Saturn line because now I'm back on my Saturn line, which goes all the way up, through California and into Southern Oregon. It shifts somewhere in Oregon, like in Portland, I would be on my Jupiter line, which I actually really like. That's a great place for me to visit. And I thought about moving there. But this is what called me back. So I'm back here, down here in Southern Oregon on my Saturn line, being for my Saturn return, to work with my mentors and my teachers who are wise elders in their 80s, late 70s, and have already been here to say hello at 11:11. I just want to say that, honoring my mentors and my teachers. Did you find it?
No, but I'll send you a photo. You can add it to
Okay.
the thing. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you all so much
Thank
for being with us.
Mwah. All right. We'll see you all soon. Thank you, Jenna. This was magic.
Thank you so much, Denise.
As always.
Thank you for the magic.
Okay. All right.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.